From Tennessee, we have Jordan Bone and Jordan Bowden, and we will hear from them first, and we'll have a statement from Coach Barnes, and then have questions for Coach Barnes. As always, a reminder to please ask your questions specifically for each player, and since we have two named Jordan, you might go ahead and say a last name as well this time. So congratulations to the volunteers. Do we have any questions for our players? First question up front. Go ahead.
For Jordan Bone, just, how were you guys able to keep your composure there? I mean, they were making a bunch of shots, and everybody in the arena was rooting for a Cinderella. Just how were you able to not panic?
Right. Well, I just want to say first, this is a really good team. They fought super hard, and we couldn't appreciate that honestly anymore. I feel like this team was prepared to come into this game. I feel like we understood going into the game that it was going to be tough. Understanding that, especially this time of the year is very important. It's very critical. And towards when we understood that it was going to be a tight game, we just wanted to put them in long possessions, make them guard a little longer, and just execute what we do. We've been in tougher positions earlier this year. So the key thing is just never get rattled. Understand how hard we worked to get to this point, so there's no reason to get rattled. But more importantly, just executing our game plan.
Go ahead.
For both of you guys, what made Jordan Burns so difficult to guard today?
He was hitting tough shots. We tried to limit his touches, down to the end, and we had good defense on him. Lamonte Turner, was playing good tight defense on him. He was just hitting tough shots, and that's what we try to do.
Behind you, go ahead.
It's for both players. Do you think a game like this, instead of having just a blowout in the first game, could serve you well as the tournament progresses?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, they put up a tough fight. This wasn't an easy game, and we knew that it was going to be like that going into this game. I feel like they prepared us well for our upcoming game against Iowa. So we just have to, understand going into the Iowa game, it's going to be another tough matchup. It's going to be very similar, and we have to execute our game plan.
For Jordan Bowden, coming down the stretch, you guys, 9 of your last 10 opponents were NCAA tournament teams. How much do you think that helped you guys, prepare for, the kind of competition you're going to see this month?
You say it one more time.
9 of the last 10 teams that you played were NCAA tournament teams. Just playing that kind of schedule at the end of the year, how do you think that's helped you guys?
I mean, it helped us a lot. We've been in tough battles this whole year, and a team like Colgate, they really, like Bone said, they prepared us for Iowa, and just about us, executing the game plan and doing what we do.
Go ahead, Mark.
Mark Herman from Newsday in New York. Jordan Bone, can you describe what the emotions are like when you're playing against Cinderella and everybody is rooting for them and against you?
I feel like there wasn't much emotions. We were excited to play. I feel like on our end, there was a lot of anxiety towards the beginning of the game. We were kind of just ready to play because we didn't like the way we ended the season, in the championship game against Auburn. So we were all just ready to go out there and compete. We were very anxious. But I feel like the emotions, we've learned to put that to the side. We've learned in many tough games, exciting games, as you would say, it's more about the intensity over the emotion. Intensity being just, doing your job at a very high level. So I feel like there wasn't a lot of emotion. There was just a lot of anxiety towards the beginning of the game.
And what do you say, because those guys played their hearts out, as did you, what do you say to those guys at the end of the game? This is the biggest game they'll ever play.
Absolutely, man. Like I mentioned earlier, we just appreciate those guys for, coming to fight. It wasn't an easy game. Just shaking their hands, I was just like, great game, man. Just keep your head up. Way to fight. Just a wonderful lesson, man. Just to compete day in and day out. That's what this game is about, just competing and enjoying the game.
Go ahead in the back.
Stephen Bailey with the Syracuse Post-Standard. Question for you, Jordan. I wanted to ask you about the three you hit With maybe four minutes left or so from the right wing. Obviously, they had been playing off for a while. What did that mean, and what gives you the confidence to keep taking those?
Well, the entire coaching staff does an amazing job to give us confidence to take those open shots. We've learned in tougher situations this year that we have to work our game plan. We have to play towards our strengths. And when we do get the ball that wide open, we do have to shoot the ball with confidence. So that's just a wonderful job by our coaches to give us that confidence to take those shots. And I shot it with confidence, and it worked in our favor.
This will be the last question for our Jordans. Go ahead.
For Jordan Bone, Admiral had not been shooting well, hits those threes late. Grant, you guys weren't really able to get him involved a lot, has the big block. What about those two guys and some of those plays they made late?
Well, with Admiral, he's been in many games this year where he's knocked down tough shots, big-time shots in a critical moment, and he did that today. With Grant, I feel like it was kind of tough for him to get into the flow of the game earlier. I'm not really sure what it is, but he kind of found his way towards the second half. He started making the right plays, and we trust him to do that. So we put the ball in his hand, and he made those right passes. He made the right plays. And more than all, man, it's just trusting those guys because, at the end of the day, we're not the team we are. We're not the team that we are today without Admiral and Grant. So just understanding that we have to get those guys the ball because we trust them to make the right plays, and they did that down the stretch.
Well, thank you very much, both Jordans. Nice games. Congratulations. And we'll see you tomorrow at the press
Thank you.
conference as
Appreciate
well. Coach Barnes is getting his voice ready for his opening statement.
Well, I think a game like today is what makes the NCAA tournament the NCAA tournament. You get a group of guys from a league where I'm looking out at my good friend John Feinstein. I know you did a book, or you're writing a book about the Patriot League, and wrote a book ago, and he told me, so what's great about that league is you got a group of guys that just love to play basketball. And that's what it looked like today. They earned their right here, and I mean, what can you say about Jordan Burns? I mean, he was terrific. It looked like he had a magnet in that ball. And but I thought they played really hard. We were, and what Jordan said, I said to the guys at halftime, I thought we were anxious. I thought we were showing too much anxiety. And I think some of it goes to a year ago. We came in here and we talked to the team about it last night when we had the big lead against Wright State. And I told the coaches when we started out the way we did, I said, this is not good. Because I thought our guys thought it was just going to be that way. And when they came back and got back in the game, they were daring us to shoot it early. I didn't think we worked hard enough in the game to put the ball inside. I didn't think Grant really fought for his positioning. But I didn't think we were very good defensively. And I don't want to take anything away from Colgate because I thought those guys played their hearts out. But that's to get through this tournament, you're going to have games like this. And mention the crowd. I mean, we've been in big arenas. I don't think the noise of the crowd is going to bother us. I do think that at the end of the game, we try to get some movement back into where guys know where their shots are going to come from. And like the shot that the play that Grant ran today at the end for the Admirals' last three was the exact same play we ran at Florida to win the game down there. And I thought the guys knew where they were going to be able to step in and shoot the ball, and they did it with confidence. But again, you got to love Colgate and what they did. You got to love it, and it's kind of what I thought they would do. You know, we told our guys last night, don't expect it to be easy, even if we get up, which we did, and they fought back. But we were really some uncharacteristic things that we did with our body language and things that we haven't done all year, and that's where I know that there was some anxiety with our guys, but we were able to get it done. And you don't ever take a win in the NCAA for granted, ever. And the fact that we got it done the way we had to, it's kind of, we've had to do that a couple different times this year. And Jordan Bones said it. They stayed with it. They knew what they had to do, and they did it.
Go ahead up front. Go ahead.
Oh, Coach, you touched on it already, and you sat there yesterday and predicted the exact same thing, that they would pack it in and dare you guys to settle. You know, I mean, how frustrating was it to see them continue to jack up the threes and not work it inside?
Well, it's frustrating because we know what that's done to us in all 5 of our losses. But we don't mind taking them if it's in the flow of what we're doing. But it's when we just settle, and we did that too much too early. I apologize. I can't talk. I haven't been able to get my voice back.
Go ahead.
Hey, Rick, Stephen Bailey with the Post-Standard in Syracuse. Regarding Jordan Burns, what was most impressive about his performance tonight, and is there a moment that's kind of going to stick with you from it?
He's better in person than he was on tape. I can tell you that. I mean, you knew he was the kind of guard that controls the ball very, very well. He goes right a lot, and as hard as you try to keep him from doing that, he still mixes it up, but he's got a quick release. We were switching on some ball screens, and he took advantage of driving guys down the lane, and he's a good basketball player. He really is, but they have a good team. The second half, one of their bigger players, I think, didn't get to play much because I think he had an eye infection or something. Somebody told me that probably helped them in the long run because they could really spread you out then. But they're really well coached, a really well coached team. I thought they played with great composure, great poise, and they fought. And again, that's what makes this tournament what it is. And we were fortunate to get it done, but our guys got it done, and that's the bottom line.
Any message to Jordan Burns after the game?
Yeah, I told him he was terrific. I'd like to have him on our team tomorrow. I mean, yeah. Well, I shouldn't say that. That might be called I didn't say that. Scratch that.
He's the kind of player you would like to have.
Yeah, kind of player. Again, you got to love a guy like that, and you got to love. I think he's from Texas because one of his former coaches actually texted me today, and a guy that worked for me at Texas and told me that you're getting ready to play against one of my favorite players and one of my favorite people. So I don't know him, but for the guy that sent me that, I think it speaks volumes because he wouldn't say that if it wasn't true. And but he was a star today. He really was. But he's been good for him all year.
Do you mind me asking who that coach is?
Wait 1 second. I can't. Chris, man, I'm drawing the last name. If you come, I'll give it to you on my phone. You come down, I'll give it to you. Okay.
Appreciate it.
With Coach struggling with his voice, we'll take 2 more questions. Thanks.
Actually, a little bit off topic here, Rick, but Bryce Drew was fired today. I was wondering if you had any reaction to that.
Boy, it's tough because you get to know these guys and you realize how hard a job it is. And I said it all year long. He had put together a great recruiting class, and he, a guy that they built their program around, got hurt 5 games into the season, and the other guy didn't get to play. I think he missed most of the preseason. So right in the middle of the year, or right at the start of the year, he had to rechange everything he probably spent all last summer doing. And but you hate to see it for someone that I respect as much as I respect Bryce. And after 3 years, it's tough. And there's a lot of things that happened to them this year that I think was out of his control. I mean, again, Darius Garland going down because they were a different team. He was, I think, Rookie of the Week or Player of the Week the first couple weeks of the SEC season. And it's tough. This business is, after 3 years, it's pretty tough.
Coach, thank you. Congratulations.
All right,
We look
thank
forward
you,
to seeing you
guys.
tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.